Yo, what is going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yo, Daryl, Alejandro, how you guys feeling today?
Feeling
Amazing,
amazing.
bro.
Yo, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. So we got a fun episode for folks today. Oh, I see my boy Sam. What up, Sam? How you feeling today, bro?
Yo, he got the
I
new
am
colors on. Look at him.
Right?
I am so sorry, guys. I just had to we had some fires that came up. I'd help a leader with some stuff in their business. I am so sorry I'm here. I missed you guys.
Bro, we missed you, dog. It's always good seeing you, man. Yo, we get it. We are all business owners, and this is what business is. Business is solving problems as they arise. All right. So I'm excited for today's episode because today's episode, we're talking about the 5 things that people need to know getting ready for the real estate market of 2023. So this is something that a lot of people have been freaking out. What's actually funny, I'm curious to know from you guys. I've been getting a lot of emails, text messages, DMs from friends. It's funny, like friends who aren't necessarily even in real estate have been sending me messages like, oh my gosh, Bloomberg said this about real estate, and Zillow put out this article, and my title company even sent me an article the other morning. And I was like, oh man, my title company is sending me something. Maybe I should take a look at it. Maybe it's like crazy critical. But I'm like, yeah, if you've been doing this business with the right mindset, and if you're actually doing this business as a high level investor, you already saw this. Like you saw the writing on the wall for the last few months that the market is changing. The market already has changed. So today we want to talk about what you need to know so that you can continue to thrive in this coming market. So we came up with 5 things here that ultimately we want to make sure that you guys got locked in. And I'm just getting some fun text messages up here. So, what I want to do is I want to start it off with something. I want to jump right into the meat and potatoes of it. Like, if that's cool, if my brothers give me the thumbs up, like, am I good to jump right into the meat and potatoes of this today?
Absolutely. Let's
Heck
go.
yeah, man. Just don't hold back. Don't hold back on that value, bro. You better
Give
go
me the
ham.
Yo,
nitty gritty, man.
of course. So check this out. The first thing I want to let everyone understand is this coming market, we are going to see what we feel is, let's just call it a correction, right? Because understand that the markets move in cycles. For the last 12 years, we've seen nothing but an upward trending market, which has been awesome. Anybody was able to step into real estate and basically make money. Anybody was able to do well in this sort of market. It didn't quite necessarily require you become a true performer. You were just able to buy a piece of property. It was going to appreciate for the most part. If you're in a booming market like Florida, Arizona, any of these markets, you were just going to see appreciation. Now we're getting back to where the market ultimately hangs out normally, which is you've got to know what you're doing. And one thing that I look at, whether the market's going up, down, or sideways, is I buy for cash flow. So the first thing I want you guys to think about for the coming market of 2023 is you want to buy for cash flow. When you're looking at who are the buyers still, who are the people that if you're wholesaling, who are you going to be selling properties to? If you're looking at building out your portfolio, this is an amazing time if you're thinking with the mindset of I'm looking to create positive cash flow in my portfolio. So whether the market goes up, down, or sideways, I have cash coming in my pocket every single month. See, a lot of people are freaking out because interest rates are rising. So, in case anyone doesn't know, the whole dilemma currently, the thing that's scaring people and the reason prices are starting to come back down is simply because we have interest rates rising. When interest rates rise, this means somebody who was getting a mortgage last year for 2.5%, 3%, they were able to go in, purchase a property, even at a higher price. They were able to overpay for a property, but because the money cost so little, their monthly payments were low. This allowed them to overpay for properties. This is what allowed such massive appreciation. Now that interest rates are climbing up, we're seeing monthly payments increasing by 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes $800. You got to understand for a normal buyer, for a traditional American buyer, this is a major change in lifestyle. This is a car note. This is health insurance. This is paying for groceries for a family. So that $800 difference no longer lets the home be affordable. However, as an investor, right, as an intelligent investor, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the properties and I'm saying, well, if I'm buying a house and I'm able to still rent it out and produce a cash flow, although I might have a 5%, 6%, 7%, sometimes 8% interest rate on my mortgage, I'm okay with that because I'm still making money at the end of the month. So when people are saying, oh my gosh, this isn't the time to buy, I say, are you kidding me? This is the best time to buy. This just became a buyer's market. I've been waiting for this since I got into real estate. I've only read about this. I haven't gotten to participate in this sort of market cycle yet, right? We've seen in our history, since 1970s, in the 70s, interest rates were in the double digits. And guess what? People were still buying real estate back then. People were still, good investors were still buying real estate. So I want you to start to calm yourself down and remember, while the rest of the world is freaking out, we want to have contrarian thinking. All right. I look up to guys like Warren Buffett who speak about contrarian thinking. When everyone's running left, he's curious as to what's happening over on the right. He wants to start going in that direction because wherever the crowd is going, he wants to go in the opposite direction. So right now, when everybody is freaking out and everyone is scared and people are pulling back from buying, I'm buying more properties. In fact, we just closed on another property that we're adding to our portfolio. We just closed on that yesterday.
Let's go.
We are still buying. We are still picking up. I want you to think I buy for cash flow, right? Here's one of my great mentors said to me, we buy and sell to create cash, right? So we buy and sell to create cash so that we can buy and hold to build wealth. Take note on that. Lock that down. Lock that. Get that in your brain. Tattoo that into your mind. We buy and sell to create cash so that we can buy and hold to build wealth. So as 2023 enters, I want you to think about buying for cash flow. So I want to pass this over now to my man Daryl, because I know Daryl wants to talk about some stuff, and I could go in on the cash flow, and we might even have to do a whole masterclass on ROI and what positive cash flow looks like, but we need to really be aware that we are buying for cash flow.
Bro, I think it's super important that we don't just skip that, right? Like, you just dropped a lot of gems just now. Say it one more time. What you just said. We buy cash. Say that one more time.
We buy and sell to create cash so that we can buy and hold to build wealth.
And that's super important. Like, so Joel, shout out to Joel. He said in the chat, the recession is our time. Let's make it happen. Recessions is where millionaires are made, right? And that goes hand in hand with exactly what you were saying, Marlon. There's so many people who are scared, right? They're scared and they're running away because they don't know what's going on with the market. Buyers aren't buying, market's crashing. They're scared. But this is the time to buy. This is a shopping spree, right? This is where millionaires are made. We're supposed to be racking up on houses because it's at a premium right now. You know what I'm saying? So super important, right? And what I wanted to talk about a little bit is people are still buying cash deals, right? People are buying cash deals every single day. That does not stop just because interest rates are going higher, right? Now what's happening is those interest rates are going higher, which means end buyers, people who are going to live in the house, they cannot pay as much as they could have in 2021, right? And hedge funds, they're not buying as much as they were in 2021, right? But that does not mean that the game is stopped. All it means is you need to adjust, right? You got to get better at sales. So what we need to do is you need to be able to get these prices lower, right? You just need to get better deals, right? And part of getting better at sales is adding more tools to your tool belt, right? So if you're not utilizing creative finance in today's market, you're missing out on so many deals. Guys like me, Sam, Alejandro, Marlon, we are eating these creative deals up in today's market because so many people cannot sell, right? Interest rates are too high. The same if in 2021, if you're buying a $500,000 house, right, at 2% interest rate, your monthly payment's going to be, we could do the math, right? Real quick, let me I actually want to share my screen and show how real this is. 1 second. Let me share this. So excuse all the tabs, right? But say we buy a $500,000 house, right, in 2021. Sam, what was on average, Sam, what would you say was the the interest rates in 2021?
2021. Ooh, they were coming up just a little bit. They were still between 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay, so say you
Split
put
around the middle.
20% down, right? 3.5% interest rate. That makes your payment $2,100, right? Now today, what would you guys say the interest rates are at? What, 6, 7?
Yeah, for sure. 6, 7. If you're an investor, and guys, remember that's always going to depending on your experience level. For the newer folks, that rate may also be a little bit higher. But yeah, 6s and 7s right now.
Okay, so let's say 6.5, not 65. All right, so $2,900, almost $3,000, right? So remember we said 3.5 at first, 2,100. That goes up almost $800, right? I don't know about y'all, but $800 is a lot of money, especially for a family who's going to move into a house. They're going to live there. They have a family, right? So they cannot make that same payment, right? In order to be able to make that payment, they need to lower the price, right? You need to buy that same $500,000 house for about probably around like $400,000, right? So that's why buyers, they're not really slowing down, but they're being a lot more conservative, right? So one thing that you need to do is you need to get better at sales, right? You need to be able to talk these sellers down from their crazy high asking price to what it makes sense for us, right? You need to show them why we need to buy these properties at this price. Second, you need to have your buyers in place, right? You need to know your buyers. You need to understand why your buyers are buying the way they are, right? Ask them. So what's got you doing this? Like in today's market, right? How are you evaluating these properties? Just so I know, so I can bring you the right stuff, right? I don't want to bring you crap, right? So you need to be able to talk to your buyers. And 3, I would say, learn creative financing. Right. We have so many deals under contract just creatively, and not because we're searching for creative finance, it's because that's the solution that solves their problem. Right. We never force it. That's just a tool that we have in our tool belt. And if creative solves their problem, that's what we use. Right. So in 2023, make sure you're utilizing those 3 things. You're getting better at sales, getting deeper discounts. Right. You're learning creative finance, and you're talking to your buyers, understanding where they're at, why they're buying what they're buying.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that, because Daryl's absolutely right. Like, if anyone thinks that buyers aren't buying cash, I mean, I just bought 2 properties in the last 5 days, and I bought both of them cash. So recognize that your buyers are still buying. And if somebody were to have a conversation with me, they would find out. And I picked up both of these deals from wholesalers, just so everyone's clear. Right. So I picked up both of these deals from wholesalers. And what's happening is I'm buying my deals deeper. So the main thing is, like Daryl said, is I'm just looking for true deals where last year you were able to contract things that weren't actually deals because everybody was playing the appreciation game. See, they were playing the game of buy high, sell higher. Right. That's not the real game, though. The real game is buy low, sell high. So I'm looking for properties where I'm getting in at 40% ARV, right? Ideally, between 30 to 40%. I'm willing to go as high as 50% if the property makes sense, if how much renovation I'm going to have to put into it isn't a whole heck of a lot. However, we're looking for deeper discounts. The deals are out there, but you have to understand this. When we start talking to sellers, when we start talking to realtors, recognize where your cash offers need to be in this kind of market.
So Marlon, so as a cash buyer, right?
Yep.
Me, if I'm coming to you as a wholesaler, and I asked you, right, if I just came up to you, just gave you a call one day and said, hey man, would you be able to walk me through how you're looking at these deals? Is that something that you're going to get pissed off about, or are you going to take the time to help me out?
So here, great question, Daryl. Great question. So as a buyer, if I get a serious wholesaler that comes to me and says to me, look, I want to understand your buy box, I'm going to take time to want to work with this person. Now, let me emphasize this. You've got to be serious about being in this industry, right? So I'm going to be honest with you. As a real buyer, the first time you reach out to me and you start if you lead with, can I pick your brain? If you lead with, like the first question out of your mouth, just like, hey, what's your buy box? right? And you haven't built rapport with me and you haven't shown me that you're here to stay, you don't have any sort of track record, any sort of history, you haven't put in any sort of work, I'm going to ignore you. Now, when I ignore you, and I'm just telling you this for everybody, when somebody like myself, when an investor ignores you, you best follow up.
Yeah.
You bug the hell out of me. Because if you're willing to be that annoying to me, I know you're going to be that persistent when you go out into the marketplace, when you go out looking for deals, when you're out talking to realtors, when you're out talking to homeowners, when people are slamming the door and hanging up the phone on you, I know you're going to keep going because you have ambition. So I want to work with people that have ambition. So after that, I will sit down and I'll actually explain to you like, hey, look, kid, inside this, or man, you're not even a child, right? Like, hey, look, inside this market, for example, one of the main markets I buy in is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We just picked up a property where we got an as-is appraisal on the property at $160,000, right? As is. Now, the comps support the value going up even higher, closer to $200,000. So looking at the property, and it needs approximately $20,000 to $30,000 of work. If I'm looking at where I want to pick the property up, let's use the as-is appraisal. Let's say I want to pick it up at 40% of ARV because I'm going to have to do some work into it. That would put me at, and I'm pulling my calculator out here, I'd do $160,000 times a 0.4. And that's telling me I need to pick the property up for about $64,000. Well, I've overpaid a little bit. I picked the property up for 70, right? So I'm still able to get in very deep. Now, why do I want to pick the property up there? It provides me as an investor with options. I like options, right? I love options. So the options I have now are 3. I could wholesale it, which is actually what we like to do when we get properties this deep. We literally contract them. We literally close on it. And I list it right back on the market the very next day. So it's already on the market and it sits on the market for a week. And we just see if we can get a quick sell on it just to see. If I can make a quick 30 grand without having to touch anything into it, I'm selling that puppy. The second option I have is I can go ahead and renovate it and flip it and sell it, do an actual renovation. But the one I'm going forward with is I'm actually going to renovate it, refinance it, and hold on to it in my portfolio because I can actually pull cash out and I'll be able to cash flow. So why wouldn't I do that? So I would sit down and show this to a wholesaler. I would show this to a new investor if they were seriously ready to take the time to get to know me. And I would make it easy for them to make money with me. I'd make it so dang easy. It's like, hell, bro, this is what you need to go out and find. These are the numbers you need to ask for. And trust me, your game on the phone changes drastically when you understand what number you actually need. A lot of us struggle on the phone because we didn't know where we actually needed it. I didn't know what that line in the sand was. I will give you that line if you're going to sell deals to me. Sam will give you that line. Alejandro will give you that line. Daryl will give you that line in the sand so you know exactly where you need to be behind so that you can make a profit.
And not only that, bro, when you have a buyer behind you that you know is going to buy this and you know that they have the money, they gave you the buy price, that alone is going to give you that extra boost of confidence on the phones that you need to lock that deal up, right? Like if you know, like it's something different when you just know that you pretty much your partner has the money, right? You already have a buyer lined up. You know that you could perform, right? So exactly 1,000%, bro. 1,000%.
Right, you feel like Superman. So the first 2 things we saw was we want to buy for cash flow. Right. The second thing is if we're buying in 2023, as we're gearing up for 2023, just understand that the game's changed, the arena's changed. You got to buy deeper. Buyers are still buying cash. Investors are still buying cash. You just need to be deeper. Right. Don't freak out. Wholesale still works. And I want to emphasize this before I pass the microphone over to Sam is as investors, please remember who you're actually here to serve, who your actual clientele is. You're serving people that are in problems, right? You're serving people that have problems. You're serving people that are going into tough times. Whether the market's going up, down, or sideways, people are still facing pre-foreclosure. People are still going through divorce. People are still passing away and inheriting homes that they don't want. People are still having tenants who are not paying them. These are all still problems that happen regardless of what is happening to the interest rates. Homes are going years and years and years without renovation. So we're still able to see distressed properties driving through the streets. All of these things are still occurring, whether the interest rates are going up, down, or staying in the middle. So keep that front and center in your mind as you start to say to yourself, man, but wholesale's not working anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. Did everyone just stop getting into pre-foreclosure? Did everyone just get, an additional $20,000 added to their monthly cash flow? Oh no, people are still losing their jobs. People are still going through hard times. Wholesale still works. You can still solve problems. So Sam, I want to hear from you, bro, because you are like actually, you know what? I want to pass this over to Alejandro first, actually. Because Alejandro we were talking about something a little bit earlier, like what we need to think about going into 2023. So Alejandro, bro, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited. I don't know why I'm so happy today. I don't know if it's a tea or everyone just has a different background today. It's just almost different. Sam has the nude, Marlon has the new light. Daryl always smiling. I think it's mostly Daryl just
Bro,
sharing the energy.
Daryl's got those pearlies.
Yeah, man, for this market, there's still lots of opportunities out there. There's a lot of people that needs our help right now. What's crazy is when the pandemic hit, that's when people started freaking out. And that's actually when I quit my job. Everybody thought I was crazy. It's like, dude, you're going to quit your job when the pandemic hit? This is when you really need your job. Like, no, this is where I have a small window of my freedom. Right. So I'm a huge believer. Again, I have really high risk tolerance, but don't recommend it for anyone that has a family to take care of. But I just took action. I jumped into the action. And right now into this market, there's a lot of people that are really concerned with where the market is going, especially even sellers. I've actually had a conversation with this realtor today. He had this property on the market since June. And it got to a point where the sellers started canceling showings, like without letting the realtor know, like, hey, don't have any showings, because they price dropped the property from 420. Now they're at 370. And she's just like, my house is not going to sell. Like, just don't bring showings. It's just a waste of time. No one's going to sell it. And obviously, being me on the phone, just trying to find a solution. Hey, what if I can pay, your realtor commissions and pay the actual price that the guys listed for, which it was 420. They was like, you would do that? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? I'm buying cash flow. I'm not buying, because of the price. And that's really when he started getting more excited. He was like, oh my God, this is something that could potentially work for my seller. And again, it solves their problems. There's still more opportunities out there. And, for you guys, a lot of you guys are out there that don't know what creative finance is. Reach out to us. There's no need to stress yourself out and figure out how to pitch terms or pitch creative finance to a realtors. Reach out to Sam, reach out to Marlon, reach out to myself, Daryl, and we will help you. If you have someone that has a property on the market and they just can't sell it, tell them, hey, what about these options? And when they ask you, well, how does that work? Well, I'm not the expert, but my partner is. He's buying, a lot of properties on creative finance, and I would love to schedule a call with you guys. And that's initially what you should do. Bring the deal to us, and we can make some money together and also solve people's problems.
Bro, that's so freaking good. And it's interesting. Like I feel like I need to come back to this idea, right? Because like Alejandro is saying, like cash flow, like Daryl's saying buy it like deeper, and like I'm saying the same thing, it's cash flow. I want people to really to get this concept in their head, because I think what happens is when we start looking at houses, like when we start seeing like these big pieces of property, our brain starts to go haywire for a second. And I just want us to think, let's throw away the house for a second. And let's just imagine that when we talk about business, when we talk about real estate investing, we're talking about buying a little ATM. Right? We're talking about buying a little ATM, a little box that spits out cash. Right? And every single month, this little box is going to spit out cash to you. And let's just say, for example, that this little box spit out $300 a month to you. Every single month, it just gave you $300. And I want you to think about this when you're starting to look at properties. I want you to think about this whenever you look at a house, when you're like, man, like real estate, like, but because like people will talk to me and they'll start to tell me the story about the house. Oh my gosh, like they had a dog and the dog, bit up the backyard tree. And I'm like, none of that matters to me because I want to understand the numbers. How much money does this little box spit out at the end of every month? Oh, cool. So the box spits out $300 a month. Awesome. How many people would want this box? Right? Like, matter of fact, if you're on YouTube right now, because we got the YouTube comments going off, throw a 1 in the YouTube box in the comment section if you would buy a box that gave you $300 every single month. How many of you would want that box? Right? Put a 1 in the chat. I know I would. Right?
Let me get that box.
All right, let me get that box. Now, if I start to add some more detail on some more information, you might find your answer changes. It might become a hell yes or a, let me think. Because if I said to you, hey, that box that spits out $300 every single month is going to cost you $1 million. $1 million. Some of you might be like, whoa, wait a second, bro. Wait, whoa. I got to pay $1 million for a box that only spits out $300. Some people might say, you know what, I don't want that box anymore. And this is like what's happening, right? Like people are seeing like, oh, I gotta pay so much for my box now. Like, I don't know if I want this. But what if I came back? And this is why understanding we buy for cash flow matters. Because what if I said like, Alejandro, bro, the box, yeah, it cost $1 million, but bro, you only got to pay me $1 a month for the next million months to get this box that spits out $300. So you're like, wait, bro. So I'm going to make $299 every single month, right? Oh, hell yeah. I'll pay for this again, right? But what if I was like, yo, but Alejandro, I got to be honest with you, man. That dollar you're paying me every single month, there's actually some hidden interest on it as well. So it's actually, you're going to be paying me $1.10. There's 10% interest on that money, right? You might say, I still want it. Why? Because there's positive cash flow. And I want to get this through everybody's head. So when we throw the picture of the house out the window and we're now just looking at a little box, a little ATM that spits out cash, all I'm really focused on is, hey, how much is this going to cost me every single month to own? How much will this cost me every single month to hold on to? And with understanding creative financing, and with having this core concept in our mind, this will allow us to continue to safely invest in property. To safely invest in property while everybody else is getting scared, while everyone else is pulling out of the market. I can still go and talk because the people that want to sell, the people that were selling so that they can move to be closer to family, for health reasons, for job opportunities, guess what? They still need, keyword, need to sell. I can still solve a problem in 2023 when everybody else is getting frigid. And if you're watching the Think Big podcast, I need you to think bigger. I cannot allow you. We would not be doing our job if we allowed you to think small like traditional America. We do not need more people thinking small. We need more people going out there. We need more people solving problems, having conversations with confidence because you're realizing like, oh my gosh, wait, you're telling me everyone's freaking out simply because they aren't learning to underwrite to make sure that the numbers make sense? That's why everyone's scared, because they just haven't done the math. Right? I just want to let everyone know. I recently refinanced the property at an 8.1% interest rate, and I would do it again.
Damn.
I'll do it again. Why would I refinance a property at an 8.1 interest rate? Because on that refinance, we pulled out $15,000 of tax-free money, and we're still cash flowing $300 per door, which I'm cool with. So I have zero money in the deal. I got paid $15,000 to hold the property, and I'm making $300 per door. And this is going to stay in my portfolio. I have an infinite return on my money. What sort of ROI beats an infinite return on your money? This is why I talk about buying for cash flow. This is why we talk about thinking bigger. How many deals can I do if I've got to put zero of my own money into it? How many deals can I do if every time I do a deal, I get paid $15,000 and I make an additional $300 a month?
There's no limit.
There's no limit. Why would I ever stop buying? Like, I mean, look, if you want to stop buying, just send me the deals that you were thinking about. All right,
Yes.
I'll buy them. Yeah. So I love this. Like, I like this conversation because, again, like I'm watching so many people just misunderstand what it means to step into real estate investing, and they're just missing a very critical mindset. They're missing this little piece because, unfortunately, the people that they're being influenced by aren't real estate professionals. There are people that were doing it as hobbies, right? We've created real estate businesses. Right? We've actually created real estate businesses, and we have become real estate professionals by diving deep into this. So we're no longer scared when we see things on the news. In fact, when I see red on TV, like on the basic TV, when I'm traveling and I'm in the airport, and I just see like the screens are filled with red, I get so excited, guys. I get so excited because that means there's about to be more deals because more people are going to get scared and more non-performers, more hobbyists are going to get out of the business. So, speaking of building this as a business, I feel like we got to pass the mic over to my man, Sam. Like, what up, Sam, bro? How you feeling?
Feeling damn good. Like,
You're looking good, bro.
Damn good. Thank you, guys. This one's important, right? This live is really important because as people go into 2023, what do we got? 31 days left, roughly around there, for before we get to 2023. And the reality is this: the last week after December 25th, after Christmas, everyone gets into this oh shit kind of vibe where they're like, I want to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with my life, and I'm going to start actually putting a game plan together for 2023, right? And for you guys as investors, it doesn't work that way. It can't work that way. What needs to happen is this: there needs to be a few critical shifts in not just your mindsets, but also in how you approach your business. This is really freaking important, and this cannot wait till December 25th, December 26th. This has to happen right now, and here's why. I want to speak specifically to a group of people who watch us, who are in this position where, you guys are doing a few deals, right? Maybe a deal a month, a deal every other month. Maybe you're hitting 2 to 3 deals a month, right? But there may not be predictable, sustainable, right? You don't have ironclad predictability and clarity in where your next deal is going to come from. I want to speak to you guys specifically. You guys are in this beautiful position in your business where it is about time for you to stop freaking being hobbyists and to start being legitimate business owners. And it's going to start with this one key understanding point. It's that a lot of you guys, when you were taught how to do this investing game, you were taught to be investors and not business owners. And there is a critical difference between the two. You were taught how to do deals, not build a business. There's a critical difference between that two. And people don't seem to understand that sometimes because why? When you're just getting started, you're fighting for that first deal, the first couple of deals, you're just failing forward. These are beautiful phases to be in, right? These are really important seasons of getting started. Sometimes you get caught up in the day-to-day operations. And what ends up happening is you fail or you lose sight of pulling yourself out of those day-to-day operations, and you get stuck as an operator, not an owner. So one of my great mentors, he says this a lot, and I know all of us kind of agree with this: the hustler must die. A lot of you guys are hustling right now, especially in 2022, and that's okay. That's totally fine. You have to do what you have to do to put food on your family's plates. But for you to have predictability, sustainability, and the word that everyone loves and everyone comes to me for, if you want to scale in 2023, critically, you need to change your mindset from an operator to an owner, right? To go from hustler to CEO. For my visionaries, I love you guys. I'm a visionary. We suck at building businesses because businesses are not built truthfully. Culture is so important. Team culture, right? Company culture is critical. Company culture does not scale. Company culture doesn't give you the systems and processes and KPIs that you need to make smart business decisions. So to my visionaries, if you do not have a partner or an operator in your company who is an integrator type, get really good at understanding what metrics and what numbers we need to hit. 6-7 months ago, when I first hit my first ever 6-figure month, I wanted to make sure I could do it again and again and again. And I realized that I needed to start paying attention to KPIs. I needed to start paying attention to numbers. And what I quickly realized is this industry, not just real estate, but any business out there, is a game of inputs versus outputs. Are we inputting enough of the right things to get the output that we want? Now, what does that mean? Let's break it down just in a few examples. If you're doing cold calling, right? What's the initial input? Am I cold calling or is my VA cold calling? If it's me, I know a lot of you guys out there right now, there's a few names in the chat. You guys have actually talked to me privately, and I know a few of you guys are actually cold calling yourselves. Cold calling maybe 2-3 hours a day, right? Whereas a VA could cold call 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day. That level of input will always beat your level of input. They will have a higher range of outputs than you. So I want you guys to understand and quantify. I know it's a big word. Visionaries hate that, right? We all failed math. It's okay. Start quantifying every little bit of input that you can. Every dial, every text, every lead that we have, every conversation we have with a seller, a realtor, a wholesaler, everything has to be quantifiable. Are our inputs matching the outputs that we need? So I'm going to do this in like a quick 1 minute time frame. If you guys want to get a deal right off the bat, January 1st, between January 1st to January 30th, in the first month of 2023, you want to get a deal. Great. Pick a method, pick a marketing method. This is how we reverse engineer everything, guys, in marketing. If it's cold call, you need to hit on average, industry standard, 55 leads to get that deal. That's 55 leads. Great. What does that look like? I need to have 2, 3, 4 VAs cold calling 8 hours a day. If your output is 55 leads, how much input do we need to get it? How many VAs do we need? How many dials do we need to make? How many cold calls do we need to make? How many records do we need to skip trace? So things like that. Just have that mindset. Approach it to texting. Approach it to PPC, or apply it to those things, I should say. Inputs versus outputs. Visionaries, start reframing that mindset. Let's take from our integrator friends and realize that they are smarter than us, and we need that to make better business decisions as owners. That's critical. Number 2, this is another mindset thing that really rings true with me, because I had to go through this mindset shift to change my life, change my business trajectory. You cannot scale. You cannot even think about scaling if you're in the business. And this is critical. This is absolutely critical. I'm working on it extensively in my company right now. It's something that we're doing a lot of, and I want you guys to pay attention to this. Pay attention to it this way. When you are in the season of learning this industry, right? You're watching podcasts like this, you're consuming a lot of content, you're learning how to talk to sellers, you're brushing up on your sales skills, right? You're making some cold calls, doing some lead management, this, that, and the other. You are doing deals. Quickly understand and identify if the activities that you are doing, are you doing a deal? Are you doing deals? Or are you building your business? And there's a key difference to those things. There's absolutely a key difference. So if you are pounding the pavement, right, you're at your desk, you're hammering out seller calls, right? You got your phone out, you're hammering out seller calls, talking to realtors, trying to get a lead in, trying to close a deal. You are doing deals. When you are interviewing people to bring in as lead managers, you're interviewing potential closers, you're putting systems and processes in place to onboard other people, to scale different metrics. If you're trying to secure a larger budget to put into marketing, that is building a business. Going into 2023, I want everyone to start placing a greater emphasis, not on doing more deals, but on building a business. Everyone wants to do 20 deals a month. Everybody wants to do 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 deals a month. You won't be able to do that many deals by focusing on doing deals. You'll be able to do that many deals by focusing on building your business. And in order to do that, you have to remove yourself. You have to basically fire yourself. So identify where you're at in your business right now. So are you a closer in your own business? Are you a lead generator in your own business? Are you a TC, a dispo manager? What are you in your business? And whatever the heck you are, put that down on paper, step by step. Itemize what that business looks or what that position looks like. Set out roles and responsibilities in a step-by-step manner. Create a freaking flow chart. Right? And if you don't know how to do that, go pay someone $5 or $10 to do it for you. It's actually really freaking easy. What you're doing is you're creating an SOP. This is a standard operating procedure. So when you can go and then bring someone else into your business, right? Maybe it's a sub-2 student, a TTP student, an Astro student. Maybe it's a friend from high school, whoever it is. You bring them in, you give them that SOP, right? That has a step-by-step instruction manual on how to do this job. Congratulations, you fired yourself from that position. Now you are free to solve higher level problems in your company. When you go and do that, maybe now you've elevated to being a closer, you've elevated to being a dispo manager in your company or a sales manager. You're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to itemize everything step by step, communicate it at a 3rd grade level. Then you bring someone else in, give them that manual and say, go to work. Congrats, you have fired yourself from that position. Go solve higher level problems. This is how you go from hustler to CEO.
Yo, I love that. And Sam, I'm thinking out loud for some of the people that are watching and they're having this thought process of, but yo, Sam, what if I don't have time to work on my business? Like, what would you say to a person that comes to you and says, like, yo, but Sam, there's only 24 hours in a day. Like, I just don't have the time to work on my systems and to work on my processes and to do that kind of stuff. I got to respond to the calls and what would you say to a person that believes they don't have the time to work on their business?
Ooh, I get that a lot. I get that from people. Now there's the tried and true Sam aggressive answer that people tend to not like sometimes. And then there's sometimes the more realistic, more practical answer, right? There's a few different ones. I'm going to give you guys what I may not say this. If you come to me and you say those things to me, I may not say this because Marlon always reminds me that I need to be nicer to people. But in my head, I'm thinking this. You're feeding yourself bullshit excuses to not do what you need to do to take your business to the next level. So people say, I don't have time. I can't afford the time to sit down for 8 hours and build out my SOPs because I may leave some money on the table. I may, I'm not going to be hitting my calls. I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to be doing that. Here's the thing. If you want to achieve a level of things, a level of growth and status that you've never achieved before, you have to start doing things that you've never done before. That is the critical truth of life. So if you don't have the time, you need to make the time. Now, full transparency, in my company, we just dropped $30,000 freaking dollars on our SOPs, our systems, our training manuals, our onboardings, everything. We completely stopped calling leads. We completely stopped producing money-making activities in the short term, right? And that is a short-term loss, but we understand we have to do that to have long-term growth. So I'm going to say this, guys. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. We all do.
And I want everybody to understand something that Sam just said. And I want them to look at it from an analogy of this. Sam is talking about essentially building his foundation. And imagine if I said, look, buddy, your foundation is really screwed up. And I know you started building this skyscraper, right? And you're saying like, no, but we must continue building the skyscraper. And I'm telling you that your foundation is on sand right now. I'm telling you that your foundation is not sturdy. Would you still continue to build and stack on top of that unsturdy foundation? Or would you stop what you're doing? Because now that you know better, you do better. Now that you know better, you do better, and you go and you start working on the foundation the way it should be. What do we want? Do we want a short-term win that's going to end in catastrophe? Or do we want to have something that's long-lasting, something that's true, something that ultimately gives you your time back? What did you get into this business for? Did you get into it for vanity to be able to tell people you're doing deals? Or did you get into it so that you can have something that's actually able to give you the freedom to go do whatever else you choose? So, Sam, I love that. And Sam, I want to ask one more question, while we're on this topic, which is I want to know from you, why is now like we're stepping into essentially what was going to be a little bit of a market correction. I don't like to use negative words and say like a downturn or things of that nature, but we're starting to see a correction in the market. Why is now a better time to scale versus when the market was hot and we had a lot of, just a lot of activity? Like, I have an opinion, but I'm curious to know, why you think now is a better time to start scaling.
I love it. I love it. I love that. And I love the fact that you want to steer away from using negative words, right? Because words have meanings and words have connotations that can influence the way that we process things and how we think. And this is really freaking critical. Guess what? We're going to have a market correction. Other people, they don't listen to Marlon, right? Other newer investors, they don't listen to Marlon with his positivity. They listen to people who are fear mongerers, right? And they're listening to the words crash, downturn. Really, crash is the big one, right? Recession. They're afraid, right? They're afraid of the market. They're afraid that their property values are going down drastically. So if I'm a wholesaler, my $15,000 assignment is going to be a $7,000 if I'm lucky. So why the hell should I market in the first place? Guess what, guys? Let the competition be afraid, because when the competition is afraid, they pull back. What happened in the last Great Recession in 2008? Everyone on the screen was probably in about third grade during that recession. So we're all kind of young. We weren't really there doing real estate at the time. But this is the real truth of what happens in a recession. People have fear. They pull away, especially investors. They tighten up. They pull away from marketing. They stop cold calling. They stop texting. They stop doing ads, right? They really they really fall back into becoming hobbyists. If you have smart systems and processes in place, if you have scaled your business so it runs in a robust fashion, you will have an unprecedented opportunity to eat their lunch. When they pull away and they stop marketing, guess what, guys? Pick a market, any market. Let's just say it's Dallas, Texas. Maybe not Dallas, Texas, because I'm there, Alejandro's there. Well, you can't compete with us, but I'm just kidding. Let's just say it's Austin, Texas, right? Austin, Texas, it's a great market. In a quote unquote recession where everyone's afraid, let's just say 30 to 40% of the wholesalers stop marketing directly to sellers. That's a beautiful opportunity for you. Yep. Have clean systems, strong processes, be efficient with your budget, know where every single penny that you are spending is going, and then double down on that because your competition's walking away. When the market has stabilized and it feels a little bit safe again and they feel comfortable and they're decided they shouldn't have probably spent the last year walking away, they want to come back in, they won't be able to because you are now dominating market share. In my opinion, guys, you need to not be operators. You need to be business owners, scale your systems and your business so it runs, because everyone else who doesn't have that, you'll be able to outcompete them every day of the week.
Bro, yeah, I was actually just at a meetup. It was a few weeks back, right? And we were talking about the upcoming market and what's going on. And there were some pretty high level investors in the Phoenix area, and everybody's going around in a circle, right? Just talking about what they're doing, how they're combating and competing in this market. And literally everybody, they're saying, yeah, we're slowing down on marketing. We're at a place right now where we're just in traffic and we're just slowing. We're just stationary right now. Like we're just sitting here and everybody's just saying like, yeah, we're slowing down. There's no clue what we can do. And I'm like, it came up to me and I'm like, yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about they're slowing down. I just added like an extra $5,000 a month to my budget and marketing, and like we're doubling down. And I told them, I said, I just told my team, you just need to get better at sales. That's all it is. We need to, like Sam said, we need to have our systems and processes right. That's my job. My team's job. You need to get better on the phones, and that's also my job as well to help them get better on the phones. But that's what it comes down to, right? You can't be scared, and I'm grateful that they slowed down because, like you said, Sam, that's more for us, because the reality is, yes, on one side, people may be slowing down buying, right? Like, yeah, that it's going to slow down. We got to figure out how to still fix that, right? But on the acquisition side, these people still have problems. These sellers are still going through a lot of problems that we need to solve. And when you remind yourself what we're doing this for, is to solve problems, help these people out of these situations that they are in, right? A lot of every single deal that I've ever done, I can tell you a story about the the problem that the seller was going through, right? And we just need to get a little bit more creative on our exit strategies. People aren't buying as much with conventional loans because the interest rates are too high. We need to figure it out on our side, right? That's why we're doing more wraps. We're doing a lot of like selling to like sober living people, right? Like a lot of stuff like that, where you just need to figure out your exit strategy a little differently, right? So 1000%.
Yeah, I love this, right? Because ultimately, it comes back to having the right mindset for this business. And this is why we have these sort of conversations. This is why you tune into these sort of podcasts. This is why you pay attention to who you're sticking around. And like Sam said, who you're listening to. This Daryl hit the nail on the head. Sam hit the nail on the head. Alejandro hit the nail on the head, where the consistency of recognizing, oh my gosh, that's right. I'm a real estate investor. I solve problems, right? I'm going into the workplace. I'm going into the marketplace to solve problems. And I want to make sure that like we recap for the people out there that are note takers, right? I want you to understand, if you were paying attention today, you would have seen that essentially the 5 things you need to be paying attention to coming up in this 2023 market. I want to recap this so people can know, because there were some questions in the comments that I want to get to. Is number 1, as a buyer, right? If you are a buyer or if you are working with buyers, recognize there are going to be 2 types of buyers. One is going to be the buyer that is buying for their portfolio, and buyer that buys for their portfolio, we buy for cash flow. We produce positive cash flow. And what we'll probably end up doing is I'm probably going to end up doing a full episode on just breaking down the numbers and explaining cash flow so that someone like can explain it to a 5-year-old. Like, I want it to be that basic, because when this clicks, and I mean, when it clicked in my mind, I went from being a wholesaler to being a real investor. Right. I actually started to hold on to property because I saw it. Like, I didn't see it when I was wholesaling, but when I finally understood cash flow. So if you're excited about that, put a 1 in the chat. If you're excited about understanding how to buy for cash flow, go ahead and throw a 1 in the chat, because number 1 is we buy for cash flow. So in 2023, we're looking for deals that still cash flow. The second thing is knowing your numbers when it comes to buying deep enough for cash deals. Cash deals still work. Just recognize, like Daryl said, you just got to get nasty with the sales. You got to be on top of it with your sales and being able to negotiate, being able to have the conversation and informing yourself. Like right now, what you're doing is you're getting educated on why your cash numbers need to be lower so that you can go back to those sellers and have a conversation and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, listen, the reason I'm able to offer you this amount on your property and no one else is willing to buy it from you is because right now the interest rates are going through the roof. So buyers have to sit out. But because I walk around with cash, because I do the right thing and I'm responsible with money and I have access to capital, I can still purchase your property. However, I do this for a living. So I still need to be able to sell to those buyers who are sitting on the sideline in the future after I fix up your property and take this problem off your hands. So I now know I'm going to be able to speak with a different level of confidence and a different level of conviction because I understand what's happening in the market. So understanding that you need to buy deeper and know why you need to buy deeper, not just because you're trying to make a fatter profit, but there's an actual reason behind why your numbers need to adjust. Then the third thing, if you remember, Alejandro came on and he's speaking about consistency. How do we show up to the marketplace consistently? How do we show up to our business consistently? How do we show up as entrepreneurs? Because all of this is meaningless if tomorrow you wake up and you're not feeling motivated anymore and you decide, you know what, I don't want to do real estate anymore. Now I want to go into e-commerce. You know what? Next week, I think I'm going to get into Turo. You know what? Actually, I found out you could do credit repair. And all of these things are great, but none of them are great if you don't stick with it. So recognizing for 2023, I need you to be as consistent as I'm about to call some people out. So some people are about to log off my YouTube forever. So I'm sorry if this is the last time we see each other. But 2023, I need you to be as consistent as you thought you were going to be in the beginning of 2022. Right? Like that feeling that you thought you were going to hold throughout the entire year, that honestly, like I'm calling you out. If you feel some type of way about this right now, I'm speaking to you because if I was telling you it's okay, if I'm telling you that your behavior was okay, I would make for a terrible coach. I'd make for a terrible friend. I wouldn't care about you. I'm calling you out. If you weren't consistent last year, time to get better. Time to be better. Time to surround yourself with people that think bigger. Be consistent. Then you heard my man Sam. He came in and he dropped gems. He expressed that there's a difference between doing deals and building a business. And that's one that many people get themselves stuck in a wholesale position simply because they never make that differentiation. They never see that, hey, look, I know you wanted your freedom, but now you're on a hamster wheel of your own creation. Before you were on a hamster wheel of someone else's creation. Now the only difference is you own this hamster wheel. Bravo. Right. We want to get to the place where you are no longer on the hamster wheel. This means you build your business and recognize entrepreneurship is a totally different skill in and of itself than real estate. There's being a real estate investor, and then there's being an entrepreneur. You want to become an entrepreneur. So like Sam said, the hustler must die. And then the last thing my man dropped was inputs versus outputs. Right? Recognizing in 2023, you need to understand what your inputs need to be to produce the outputs. He hit you with an industry standard that everybody should have written down. So I'm going to say it one more time for emphasis for all my note takers, because note takers are money makers. 55 leads will equal a contract. I don't care who you are. If you have 55 qualified sellers on the phone, you will make money in this business. If you have 55 qualified leads from realtors, you will make money in this business. If you make relationship with 55 different wholesalers and you're looking at 55 different qualified deals, you will make money in this business. If you go and you find, it's almost like a magical universal number. It's actually kind of crazy how it works. If you go and you find 55 strong leads in this business, in this industry, you will make money, even if you are brand new. Now, if you were talking to someone like Sam, Alejandro, or Daryl, and they're teaching you about sales, that number is just going to get easier for you. That number is going to be probably closer to like 24, 27. So recognize this. Now, I want to address some of the comments on there are some cool questions that I saw earlier that I want to make sure that we don't miss out on. And I want to see if we can get Alejandro, if you could take this one, because Claudia had asked this question over here. Yes, I have a couple of questions. What kind of questions, when I'm looking for, what kind of questions should I ask when I'm looking for a serious end buyer? How do I distinguish between serious buyers and wholesalers pretending to be buyers?
That's a great question. And real quick, I want to highlight what you said, Marlon and Sam, about the 55 leads equal deal or a contract. I want to make sure that don't take that literal, like every day you do 55 contacts and you're going to get a deal. Someday you might have to do 80 calls to get a deal. The next day you might have to do 25, 30. And when you average it out per day, it's going to average out 55 per contract. So don't think every day, okay, cool, I'm going to make 55 calls. Make 100, make 200. Do not limit yourself to 55. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. So for this questions, I have a couple of questions. What kind of questions should I ask when looking for serious buyers? How do I distinguish between serious buyers and wholesalers pretending to be a buyer? Ooh, well, this is great. I believe if you do the number one thing, which is how to verify real buyers, then your second question should be answered very easily, because you're going to notice the difference in the language, the lingo, the tonality, it's complete difference, a 90-day difference in how they speak. And something that I do, if you have access, we all have access to technology, ask the buyer specific questions. How many properties do you own? Where do you buy? What's your entity name? Hey, if you have an entity, you can take that entity name, place it in the public records, and you can see how many properties that entity owns. I've done this multiple times when I've been really sketchy about buyers. Like, let me figure out your entity. And funny enough, the guy owns like over 50 properties in that city, in that county. So that's something you can do. And how to distinguish between serious buyers and a wholesaler pretending to be a buyer? Well, that's, again, once you get that first question answered, it should be really simple to verify that. But you can always ask. I like to have full transparent conversations like, hey, I really need a buyer that is going to take this property down because I really need to help the seller. Are you buying with cash? Are you buying with hard money? Now, a lot of, even legit buyers are buying with hard money, but ask those questions. Where are you getting this funding from? Do you have the funds? Do you have the verified funds? Are you sure you're going to be able to close on this? Well, I have to check with my hard money. That's a sign that that might not be a serious buyer for you.
Yeah.
That's a sign. Be really careful. But if they tell you, "Oh, this is done. Just I've done this multiple times. Let's sign it. Here are the deals I've done." I've had buyers that show me their fix and flips. You know, they send me links to their Zillow. This is a flip I've done. And again, how can you find that out? By building rapport.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make this an interview. Have a conversation. Have a regular conversation. People tend to ask questions after questions after questions. Like, I don't like being on the phone when people are interviewing me. Let's have a conversation. What are you looking to accomplish? Let's see if our vision can align together and we can do business together. So hopefully that helps, Claudia.
Bro,
great question.
I think that's a great point, and I want to add in on that, right? I just don't be afraid to have these tough conversations, right? You need to actually get comfortable asking the tough questions, like, show me a HUD, right? How many deals have you done? What's the last flip you've done, right? Questions like that. And what I've noticed, Marlon, when we ask these questions, right, the ones who get mad about asking these questions are the wholesalers, and the ones who answer them like easily and just like, oh, here, without a doubt, you need this, perfect. That's a real buyer, right? So if you get somebody getting angry at you or upset at you asking these questions and trying to talk all fast, that may be a wholesaler. And another thing, right? You got to pay to play. Charge their ass earnest money that's going to hurt their pockets if they decide to play around, right? We talked about that last week. So make sure you're charging earnest money. Sam, anything else to answer these questions?
Yeah, I do. I want to highlight, right? This goes back to maybe a week or two ago where we talked specifically about taking your buyers out to lunch, right? Go find the 3 to 5 best buyers in your marketplace. This is all public record, guys. You guys don't need something. If you guys want to ball out on a tool, go get something like InvestorLift. If you have PropStream, that works too. If you don't have that, guess what? The county recorder's office has a ton of data. It's going to be a little bit of a pain to go through it, but go find out who the best performing buyers. Your title company will tell you who the best buyers are, who the best buyers that they work with are. Take them to lunch, hang out with them, buy them something, right? Gift them something, build a relationship. You're going to find out not just what their buy box is, you're actually going to find out what they're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like
Hey, real quick, Sam, I think you went over that too fast on
way too
that
fast.
title company.
Way
No,
too
that's
fast.
a true gem. Write that down,
Cool.
guys. Call your title companies. The way Sam just went over that, you can tell he's been doing that forever. Bro, that is a true gem. Call your title company.
Bro,
Who
Yeah,
are
yeah,
the real
absolutely.
buyers? They have
Oh,
that
absolutely.
information for you.
we're
You know,
doing this right now with a deal. Like we're having trouble finding a buyer, and the title company actually recommended it to us. She's like, hey, if you need help finding a buyer, we have buyers who buy land in this area. Like, would you be open to us sending them out? I don't even know if they're gonna want to get paid off of it. I don't think they are. Like,
Bro, they get paid when the deal closes. This is what people
Exactly.
forget. The title company only gets paid when the transaction happens. They
Yeah.
are incentivized to see your deals close. I've had a title company blast my deal out to their buyers list. And in the first time it happened, I was like, oh man, do they know that I pay other people sometimes as much as 50% of the deal to do this? Oh my gosh. And they just want $600. Oh my gosh.
yeah. So
I felt
it's
like that, dude. I felt like one of those people like, when you're walking out of Walmart and you're like, you think you stole something because the price was so good, and you're just like, get the car started. We gotta get out of here.
dude, you just exposed me for all my Black Friday shopping. I'm like, I just paid $5,000 for this, and I'm like, it's a good deal. It's 50% off. But no, guys, absolutely. Go to your title companies, right? Your escrow officers. They, at the end of the day, they see the back end. They see when the wires come in. They see the money actually hit the bank account, so they know who is going to perform and who isn't. This is just the way it goes. And if you're a legitimate investor, if you're a legitimate buyer like me, guess what? Escrow officers that I've worked with in the past, they're actually doing the same thing. Right. So Marlon, Daryl, you may have deals, and an escrow officer may say, hey, I actually have buyers who would be interested. Maybe it's some land buyers, maybe this, that, or the other. I have an escrow officer who's actually sending me wholesalers. I'm on the other side of it. Why? Because they've seen me transact. So it's public record. You can ball out on some systems like some PropStream, like InvestorLift. You can call some title companies for free, right? They want to make those connections. They make money. There is money in connecting, folks. There absolutely is. So know your buyers, build relationships with them. Don't be transactional. You want to know what their buy box is? That's important. But what's more important is what are they trying to achieve with that buy box, right? What are their motivations? What, like, they may be trying to leave their job. They may be trying to hit a certain amount of cash flow a month number because they want to buy a Lambo. Like, whatever it is, help them get to that goal and keep them close. That is absolutely freaking amazing. And this goes down to, how you can vet these folks. The reality is, when you're sending out a deal and you're afraid that it's maybe a wholesaler, ask them specifically, right? If it's a rental, what cash on cash are you looking for? Wholesaler is never going to be able to answer that question. Why? Because that wholesaler doesn't even know what his buyers want. He's trying to just daisy chain or send this deal to somebody else. He's not going to have an answer. Ask him, hey, what cash on cash are you looking for? Right? HOAs, yes or no? No? Why not? Are you okay with this, that, and the other? Just any buyer specific question, right? You ask me what cash on cash I want, I'll tell you exactly what it's going to be and exactly what market. So wholesalers, they will fumble, and you'll be able to pick that apart really, really quickly. That's a great freaking question.
Yo, for real, Claudia, thank you so much for asking that question. That was absolutely fire. Also, I got to give a shout out to our man Will Ayarza. He's over here cash apping us again for dropping value. Today he upped it. He's increased his cash app by 100% with a $2 cash app. So shout out to Will Ayarza. We out here, we're giving value. So I'm looking at the clock. We are well over the hour, but I'm grateful that we got an opportunity to have this conversation.
Let's go for 5 hours, bro.
Yo, bro, we've done it. Yo, Daryl's done a 12-hour live. I've done a 12-hour live. Yo, we might have to come on here and do the Think Big 12-hour live sometime in the new year.
24 hours?
24, bro. Come on, dude. Too easy.
Don't test us, guys. Like I literally, like every
30
month I do like a giant 5-6 hour master class on something, and that's just me talking for 6 straight hours. So, if you guys want that, would you guys want us to do like 10, 15, 20 hours straight? 24? Did you say 24?
24. Hold on, here's an idea that just came to my head. Are we all going to be in the same place this weekend?
Ooh, we are. That's going to be fire.
Stay in tune. We may have a episode where it's all in the same room.
This is what needs to happen for people to know about that. What you need to be doing, first off, you need to be subscribed to everybody's channel up here. So you need to go to Daryl's channel. You need to go to Alejandro's channel. You need to go to Sam's channel. Matter of fact, Daryl, can you do me a favor? Can you drop everyone's channels in the comment section if that's possible? And what I want you guys to do is I want you to go and subscribe. And then when you subscribe, you're going to take one more action, which is turning on the notification, because there are times where we just go live impromptu. There are times where we've got the opportunity to bring an amazing guest on, and you're like, oh man, I really wanted to be there. It's one thing to catch it after the fact. However, when you're here live, you get to ask the questions, like how Claudia was able to ask her question tonight, and she didn't have to wait. She didn't have to go look it up. She's able to plug in right now. If y'all don't know, like plugging in with Sam, plugging in with Alejandro, plugging in with Daryl, like these guys are, if you try to get one-on-one time with them, a lot of people, you just can't. Like they're booked out, right? Like their time is too valuable now for them to just be able to just give it away. So being able to come on to this is their way of giving back to many people, doing one-to-many, answering questions, giving value the same way we all received value. I want to make sure everyone knows a big part of why we do this is because we received value while we were coming up, right? Even now, as we're still growing, there are constantly men and women who are much further ahead of us that reach back and give us an arm, right? We stand on the shoulders of giants. And we are beyond grateful for that. So we turn back so that we can do the same. And ultimately, our goal is that you do the same, that you continue to pass it back. So go ahead and, what we ask for as payment, if you will, right? What we ask for as payment for viewing this show, for tuning in, is that you like, subscribe, turn the notification on, and share this out with somebody who needs it. Share this episode with somebody who's going to receive value from it. That is admission to the show. So from now on, when we start the show, I'm going to remind everybody about the admission. And before we leave the show, I'm going to make sure that you've paid your admission. This is working on the honor system, y'all.
Yo, so I tried to drop the YouTube channels in the side chat. It was an epic fail. So here's what we'll do, right? In the description, all of our Instagrams are on there, right? Go to all of our Instagrams, hit the link in all of our bios, because we all have our YouTube channels in our bios, and subscribe. Make sure you hit the reminders. Make sure you like these videos. Make sure you literally subscribe and put it in your calendar. Every Tuesday, 5 o'clock Arizona time, Think Big Podcast. We'll be here. Fellas, you guys have any parting words? See y'all next week, man.
Always super grateful to have you guys showing up. For those who didn't get a chance to see it live, turn on your radio, put your Bluetooth on, and just take in the knowledge. Promise you this will be all worth it. And again, share it with your friends, share it with anyone. Of course, if you believe you found value in this video, if you didn't, no problem. I understand. But if you did, please share it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and there will be a lot more to come.
Hey, one more thing I actually put in the description as well. If you guys got value out of this, make sure you take a picture here, take a screenshot, something, right? Put it on your story, tag all 4 of us, and drop one gem that you learned today. Tag a friend, tag your mama, tag your brother, tag your cousin, and tell them to come on, man.
Ooh, that's fire. There we go, guys. Last thing I'll say is this. Keep showing up. Show up for us. Show up for the Think Big podcast. More importantly, show up for your business. You guys keep doing that, you guys are going to win massively. So until next week, folks, or maybe until this weekend.
Ooh, I'm excited for this weekend.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll see you soon.